He tried to save the Muslim world, while Napoleon came to burn it. Beautiful was the time when our glory rose. The resolve of our nation fluttered high, and the call of Allahu Akbar ascended to the sky. In the year 1203 after Hijra 1788, by the common calendar Selim III took the reins of the Ottoman Empire. He ascended amidst war, but he reminded his commanders that defeat begins when hearts drift from God. He raised the stipends of the soldiers, rallied the armies, and moved toward the Danube, while the fleet was ordered to strike at Z and turn its face to the Crimea. He sent the Grand Vizier to shield Belgrade, yet Austria and Russia struck together, and the Ottoman host suffered a heavy blow. The streets of the capital echoed with calls to dismiss failed leaders and rebuild the army. A people long accustomed to victory could not easily swallow such a loss. Across Europe, a storm named Napoleon Bonaparte gathered. Fearing his rise, powers that had pressed the Ottomans toward war began to prefer truces that would check France first. Peace brought a breath of time, and Selim turned inward to repair what was broken. He launched the new order Nizam, centered drilling, discipline, modern barracks, engineering schools, and a strengthened artillery. He opened permanent embassies, encouraged translations of useful knowledge, and oversaw shipyards and a water-powered gunpowder works. He set a separate treasury, the Erd, Seded, to fund reform. The crescent and star on red flew as the state banner. He listened to reports, sometimes with biting, marginal notes. He walked the city in plain dress to see with his own eyes. He supported mosques, schools, and public works, and kept a keen eye on public morals and fair dealing, but not all welcomed change. The Janissary corps resisted new training and new discipline. In the meantime, the French Revolution shook the old order, and in 1798 Napoleon sailed for Egypt to cut Britain's road to India. He entered Cairo, while the British struck his fleet at Eboute and stranded him on land. Napoleon marched north, but was checked at the walls of Acre by Ahmed Pasha al-Jaza. Some accounts claim he issued words promising the Jews a national home in Palestine. Other accounts dispute the authenticity and effect of such proclamations, so I present it as a contested report. What is not in doubt is that the Ottoman Sultan proclaimed jihad against the invader, and that volunteers and support flowed from the Hijaz, from Upper Egypt and Nubia, from Libya and the Maghreb. The struggle in Egypt bled the French. Even Napoleon is reported to have understood that a people rooted in faith are not easily subdued unless a barrier is driven between them and their religion. Cairo rose in great revolt. Cannon were set upon the Muqawqim and even aimed toward Al-Azhar, which led and sheltered the people. Violence scarred sacred places, and the uprising was crushed with harshness, but the spirit would not die. In time, a student from Aleppo, Suleiman al-Alabq, made his way to the French commander Kleber and struck him down. Command passed to Menu, but the circle closed. British fleets pressed the coast. Ottoman forces closed by land, and in 1801 the French departed Egypt humbled. Selim did not abandon reform. He sent envoys to study the ways of Europe without surrendering the soul of his own civilization. He expanded the technical corps bombardiers, sappers, and artillerymen and planted schools in Istanbul and Anatolia. He supported craft and textile industry, and he brought capable teachers to the military academies. He loved calligraphy and poetry, composing under the pen name Ilmk. He was a master of the ney and a virtuoso of the tanba. He was gentle and generous, yet the arena of power demands firmness. His kindness became a weapon in the hands of rivals who hid truths, spread rumors, and feared that reform would sweep away their privileges. In Arabia, the Wabq movement seized Taif and entered Mecca in 1803. Order was later restored under Ottoman authority through the Afrovid, Mehmet Ali Pasha. In the Balkans and Rumelia, unrest, simmered rebellions in Serbia, and the trouble raised by Potsdam weighed upon the state. When the court would not break with France at Britain's demand, a British squadron forced the Dardanelles in 1807 and showed itself in the Sea of Marmara. Istanbul tightened its defences and stood firm, and the British withdrew when they saw the shores bristling with guns and the city united for its defence. Yet the knife came from within. On May 25, 1807, Kabak Mustafa led a mutiny in the capital. To still the flames, Selim abolished the new order. The agitators pressed further and demanded his abdication. He yielded for the safety of the realm, preferring the country's frontiers not be left open to Russian advance. Confined within Topkapi, he remained a prisoner of intrigue. In July 1808, Alemdar Mustafa Pasha rushed from the Danube to restore Selim. But he came to a palace already seized by rebels. Selim was cut down in his chamber while at worship. He was 47 years old. He reigned 19 years. Elif de Nosond is his own. Thus fell the man who saw that the remedy lay in faithful hearts, sound knowledge, and disciplined order. He planted embassies to learn without bowing, schools to train without corrupting, and a new order to bind courage with craft. He rebuilt mosques and barracks, nurtured arts and letters, and walked among his people unadorned. He admitted, with painful honesty, that softness had undone him. Yet the fruits of his sowing did not wither with his blood. His successor, Mahmud II, carried the torch onward, and in time many understood that Selim had read the age truly. When accounts conflict, I give primacy to the voices from within our own tradition and to earlier, reliable chronicles. Where even these differ, I state the matter as reported and do not claim certainty. What remains certain is this: history often denies justice to the gentle, but it remembers those who struck the spark. Selim III was such a one who sought to heal a great state, without losing its soul, who tried to bind the sword to the pen, and who taught that nations rise when faith is firm, knowledge is true, and discipline is real.